Do-yoon Park, Los Angeles' most feared Korean mob boss, entered Hanul, and the entire restaurant held its breath. Everyone watched the man who controlled the Pacific Rim underworld. But his date made a catastrophic mistake. She laughed at the waitress. Pointing at the menu, she sneered. "She can't even read the menu, Do-yoon. It's all in Korean." She didn't know this waitress held a secret that could destroy their empire from the inside out. When Luna finally spoke, she didn't just read the menu. She silenced the tiger himself. This is the shocking story of how a spilled bottle of soju truly changed the criminal underworld forever. The smog in Los Angeles didn't hide anything. It just made the ugliness harder to see clearly. Inside Hanul, however, the air quality was irrelevant. The atmosphere here was thick with new money, Korean barbecue smoke, and quiet terror. Luna carefully straightened the chopsticks on table 7, her hands trembling just slightly. It wasn't nerves, it was exhaustion. She hadn't slept more than 4 hours in 3 days, working double shifts at Hanul and cleaning offices at night, just to keep the debt collectors from her father's accident at bay. To the regulars at Hanul, Luna was invisible. A shadow in a black vest and red-collared shirt, a ghost who refilled water glasses. "Fix your posture, Luna." "The manager, Mr. Kim," hissed as he swept past her station. "Table 7 is reserved. The Park Party." The name made the temperature in the dining room drop like winter in Seoul. Luna's spine went rigid. Everyone in LA's Koreatown knew the Parks. They didn't just control the restaurants or the real estate anymore. They owned the coastline, from San Diego to Vancouver. Do-yoon Park, the family's youngest and most ruthless boss, was a man whose silence was deadlier than a blade. He was known for 2 things, his ice-cold patience and his absolute intolerance for disrespect. "Yes, Sajangnim," Luna whispered, tucking a stray curl behind her ear. Her hair was pulled back in a tight bun, not a strand out of place. She kept her eyes lowered. That was the unspoken rule. Stay invisible. Stay alive. At exactly 8:30 p.m., the glass doors slid open with a whisper. The restaurant, usually filled with the sounds of sizzling bulgogi and animated Korean conversation, fell into absolute silence. It was as if someone had pressed mute on the entire room. Do-yoon Park entered first. He was broader than he appeared in the society pages, wearing a midnight blue Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than Luna had earned in the past year. His face was a sculpture of sharp angles, high cheekbones, a jaw that could have been carved from marble, dark eyes that missed nothing and revealed less. Behind him walked 2 bodyguards, massive men who moved like trained soldiers, and a woman. The woman was beautiful in the way a luxury car is beautiful, expensive, polished, and meant to be displayed. She wore a white designer dress that screamed money and carried a Birkin bag like a trophy. This was Madison Chen, influencer and socialite, desperate to become Mrs. Park before her 30th birthday and her trust fund's quarterly review. "This way, Parksy." Mr. Kim bowed so deeply Luna thought his forehead might hit the floor. They were escorted to table 7, Luna's section. She counted to 30 in her head, the required waiting period before approaching VIP tables, her heart slamming against her ribcage like it was trying to escape. She needed this job. She needed every tip. Her student loans from Ewha University were 3 months overdue, and the collection agency had started calling her at work. "Good evening," Luna said, her voice quiet but professional. "May I start you with some water?" Do-yoon didn't acknowledge her. He was looking at his phone, his thumb scrolling with mechanical precision. He made a dismissive gesture without glancing up. Madison, however, looked directly at Luna. Her eyes traveled from Luna's practical black shoes to the small gold hoops in her ears, and her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. To Madison, Luna wasn't even human. She was a prop, an inconvenience between her and Do-yoon's attention. "Sparkling," Madison snapped, her voice carrying across the quiet restaurant. "And bring the alcohol menu, the traditional list, not whatever cheap soju you serve the tourists." "Of course, ma'am." Luna moved with practiced efficiency to retrieve the heavy leather-bound menu. When she returned, she placed it carefully in front of Du-yun. He continued scrolling on his phone. "Read it to me, Jagia," he said to Madison, his voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate in Luna's chest. "I have a headache from the meeting." Madison preened at the endearment. She opened the menu, her manicured nails each one a perfect almond shape with tiny crystals embedded in the tips clicking against the pages. But as her eyes scanned the text, her confident expression began to crack. The menu at Hanyul wasn't written in simple Korean. It was written in classical Hanja traditional Chinese characters, detailing regional varieties, brewing methods, and vintage years that required actual cultural knowledge to interpret. Madison squinted. She flipped one page, then another. She laughed, but it sounded brittle, forced. "Well," Madison said, tossing her hair extensions over her shoulder, "it's all in those complicated Chinese characters, isn't it? Du-yun, why don't we just order the Jinro soju? Everyone drinks that." "I don't want Jinro," Du-yun said, finally looking up from his phone. His gaze locked onto Madison with an intensity that could freeze blood. "I want the 1,997 Andong soju. Find it. If you're ready to see Luna's transformation from invisible waitress to queen of the underworld, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video if you love stories about courage, identity, and revenge. Comment Horangi Tiger if you're Team Luna. Now let's rewind to where it all started. Luna's reflection in the polished silverware looked like a stranger. Dark circles under her eyes, skin pulled tight over sharp cheekbones from too many missed meals, lips pressed into a thin line of permanent exhaustion. 26 years old and she looked 40. She set down the fork she'd been polishing for the third time. Mr. Kim demanded perfection, and perfection meant no water spots, no fingerprints, nothing that could give him an excuse to dock her pay. The kitchen timer on her phone buzzed. 7:45 p.m. 15 minutes until the park reservation. Her hands started shaking before she could stop them. "Lunacy, table 12 needs more banchan," one of the other servers called out, rushing past with a tray of sizzling galbi. Luna nodded, already moving. "Keep your head down. Keep the job." Every night she came home to the studio apartment in Koreatown, the one with the broken heater and the landlord who forgot to fix things. She would pull out the shoebox from under her bed. Inside were the remnants of a different life. Photographs of a laughing woman with kind eyes, standing in front of Gyeongbokgung Palace, a little girl with cornrows holding her hand. Her mother. Dead now for 18 years, but Luna still remembered the lullabies in Korean, the way her mother's fingers would trace Hanja characters on her back as she fell asleep. "Never forget where you come from, baby girl. You are both. You are whole." The textbooks were there too. Korean literature, advanced grammar, the acceptance letter from Ewha Women's University, dated 4 years ago, full scholarship, international relations. She'd lasted 2 semesters in Seoul before her father's accident, before the debts, before the men in black suits who explained that Marcus Hayes had made poor choices, and his daughter would need to return to America. Immediately. She'd never learned what her father had actually done, only that she owed $127,000 to people who didn't accept payment plans. Luna delivered the banchan to table 12, smiled mechanically at the tourists who asked her to explain each dish, and felt the familiar burn of shame in her throat. She had a degree halfway finished from one of the top universities in Asia. She could read classical Korean poetry. She'd spent summers in Bukchon, learning to make kimchi from her grandmother's sister. Now she refilled water glasses and pretended she didn't understand Korean when customers made crude jokes, thinking she couldn't hear them. The glass doors slid open. 8:30 p.m. Exactly. The restaurant didn't just quiet, it transformed. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Chopsticks froze halfway to mouths. Even the kitchen noises seemed to dampen, as if the cooks knew better than to let their pans clatter too loudly. Do-Yun Park entered like a knife cutting through silk, smooth, precise, and utterly destructive. Luna forced herself not to stare, but her eyes betrayed her, flicking up for just a second. He was younger than she'd imagined, maybe 32, with the kind of face that belonged on movie screens, except for the absolute coldness in his expression. His suit was midnight blue, probably bespoke, and he moved with the controlled grace of someone who'd studied martial arts his entire life. Behind him, 2 bodyguards flanked him like shadows, and then there was the woman. Madison Chen was everything Luna wasn't: tall, willowy, dressed in designer white with a handbag that cost more than Luna's entire year of rent. Her hair extensions swung like silk as she leaned into Do-Yun, laughing at something he hadn't said. Her skin was flawless porcelain, her lips the perfect shade of pink that screamed wealth and leisure time. Luna felt her uniform suddenly grow tighter, more threadbare. Her practical shoes seemed to announce poverty with every step. Mr. Kim was bowing so low Luna worried about his spine. "Parksy, such an honor! Such an honor! Your table is ready." They sat at table 7, Luna's section. Her stomach dropped. She approached after exactly 30 seconds, her notepad clutched like a shield. "Good evening. May I start you with some water?" Do-Yun didn't even glance at her. Madison did. Her eyes traveled over Luna's body with the kind of assessment that stripped away dignity. Luna saw the exact moment Madison decided she wasn't a threat, wasn't even worth considering, just the help. The menu exchange happened quickly. Do-Yun's request for Madison to read. Madison's growing panic as she stared at the Hanja characters. Luna's fatal mistake, her eyes flicked down to the menu, just for a second, and caught where Madison was pointing. It was wrong. Completely wrong. Madison was pointing at Bok Bunja, black raspberry wine meant for dessert, not the Andong Soju Do-Yun had requested. Madison caught Luna's glance. Her face flushed red. "Actually," Madison said, her voice rising, sharp with humiliation, "why don't you read it?" She gestured at Luna with a dismissive wave. "Since you're staring at it like you actually understand Chinese." A few nearby diners glanced over. Luna felt her face go hot. "I mean, look at her, Do-Yun." Madison's laugh was cruel, tinkling, designed to cut. "She probably thinks these are just pretty pictures. She can't even read the menu. It's pathetic." Madison leaned back, crossing her arms. "These places hire anyone these days. They don't even check if the servers speak Korean, let alone read it." The restaurant had gone completely silent. Luna could feel dozens of eyes on her, judging, waiting. Madison smirked. "What? Did you learn your table numbers in English? Is that the only Korean you know? Ilgop?" She said it with a mocking accent, making the number 7 sound like a joke. Luna's hands tightened on her notepad. 23 months. She'd been erasing herself for 23 months, swallowing insults, accepting racism, taking it because she needed the money, because she had no choice, because fighting back meant losing everything. But something in Madison's face, that satisfied cruelty, that absolute certainty that Luna was beneath her, made something crack open inside Luna's chest. Do-Yun Park was watching her now. Really watching. His dark eyes were unreadable, but there was something in his expression. Curiosity. Expectation. Luna looked at Madison Chen. She looked at the menu. She thought about her mother's voice singing Korean lullabies. She thought about the textbooks under her bed. She thought about 2 years of Awa University, about perfect test scores in Korean literature, about her grandmother teaching her to read classical texts by candlelight in Bukchon. She thought about being invisible. Luna opened her mouth. The words came out in Korean, not the simple, halting Korean of a tourist or the casual speech of someone who'd picked up phrases from K-dramas. This was Seoul dialect Korean, smooth and sophisticated, with the formal grammar structure reserved for educated speakers addressing their superiors. 복분자주는 디저트용 과실주입니다. 산미가 강하고 주로 굴이나 해산물과 곁들입니다. Luna's voice was steady, clear, and utterly transformed. Bokbunjaju is a dessert fruit wine. It has strong acidity and is typically paired with oysters or seafood. The restaurant seemed to tilt on its axis. Madison's mouth fell open. Several nearby diners gasped audibly. Mr. Kim, who'd been hovering near the kitchen, went pale as death. But Luna wasn't finished. She stepped closer to the table, her submissive posture evaporating like morning fog, her spine straightened, her chin lifted. When she continued, her Korean flowed like water over stones, natural, effortless, beautiful. 손님께서 원하시는 1997 Yonsan Andong Sojunen. Luna reached over her hand, perfectly steady now, and turned the pages of the menu with a single, graceful motion. She landed on page 11, third item from the bottom. Yogi Samita, Jinglushik Sojuro, 45 doimyo, 누락향이 풍부합니다. 삼겹살이나 육회와 완벽한 조화를 이룹니다. The 1997 Andong Soju you requested is here. It's a distilled soju, 45% alcohol, with a rich nurak aroma. It pairs perfectly with samgyeopsal or yuko. She switched back to English, her accent flawless, professional. The vintage you were pointing at, Miss Chen, is aged raspberry wine. Manager Kim keeps it on the menu specifically to identify customers who pretend to know Korean alcohol culture. Luna's eyes met Madison's without flinching. I would never serve it to someone with a palate as refined as Mr. Park's. The silence was suffocating. Absolute, the kind of silence that precedes earthquakes. Madison's face cycled through shock, humiliation, and finally rage, each emotion painting itself across her features in vivid color. How dare you, you little— Enough. Dooyeon's single word cut through the air like a blade through silk. Madison snapped her mouth shut instantly, but her eyes were murderous. Dooyeon slowly turned his attention from the menu to Luna. The boredom had vanished from his expression. In its place was something far more dangerous. Interest. Sharp, predatory interest that made Luna's heart slam against her ribs. Hangukmar Haseo? Dooyeon asked, his voice soft but carrying. You speak Korean? Nay. Luna met his gaze, refusing to look away even though every survival instinct screamed at her to run. Yes. And you know traditional alcohol. It wasn't a question. I studied at Ewha University, international relations with a focus on East Asian cultural diplomacy. The words came out before Luna could stop them. 2 years of hiding erased in a sentence. Dooyeon's eyes narrowed slightly. A muscle in his jaw twitched, the only indication of surprise. He studied her face with an intensity that felt physical, as if he were reading every secret written in her bones. What's your name? Luna, sir. Luna Hayes. Something flickered across Dooyeon's expression. Recognition? Impossible. Luna was nobody. Invisible. Dooyeon closed the menu with a soft thud. Bring the Andong Soju, he commanded, never breaking eye contact with Luna. And another glass. Madison perked up, reaching for her empty water glass. Oh, Dooyeon, you're so sweet. Not for you. Dooyeon's voice was arctic. He gestured to the empty chair next to Madison, across from him. For her, the restaurant collectively inhaled. Sit down, Luna Hayes. Luna's brain short-circuited. Sir, I can't. My shift. Mr. Kim will fire me. Dooyeon's gaze slid to Mr. Kim, who looked ready to pass out. Kim Sajang-nim. The honorific was polite, but the tone was pure threat. Luna is finished with her shift. She's dining with me. Add it to my account. He paused, letting the weight settle. And if she's fired, Hanul will have a structural fire by morning. Ie Hashatsamika, do you understand? Mr. Kim nodded so violently his glasses slipped down his nose. Yes, Parksy. Of course. Luna, please, sit. Luna stared at the chair, at Madison's face, which had gone from red to purple, at Do-yoon's dark, fathomless eyes. This was insanity. This was career suicide. This was, now, Luna. She sat. The velvet chair was softer than anything she'd touched in 2 years. But Luna couldn't feel comfort. She could only feel the weight of Do-yoon's stare, the heat of Madison's fury, and the eyes of every person in the restaurant burning into her back. Madison's hands were shaking with rage. This is a joke, right? You're letting the help sit at our table? Do-yoon, my father. Your father, Do-yoon interrupted, his voice bored again, owes me 6 favors and $3 million. If I told him I left you in the parking lot because you annoyed me, he would apologize for wasting my time. Madison made a strangled sound. She grabbed her water glass, no, not water, the wine she'd already poured herself, and lunged forward. Everything happened in slow motion. Madison hurled the wine directly at Luna's face. Luna flinched, squeezing her eyes shut, bracing for the cold shock and humiliation. It never came. Luna opened her eyes. Do-yoon had moved with impossible speed. His hand was up, blocking the spray. Wine dripped from his suit sleeve onto the white tablecloth, deep red staining the fabric like blood. He hadn't spilled a single drop of his own glass, still held perfectly steady in his other hand. The restaurant went deadly silent again. Do-yoon slowly stood. He peeled off his wine-soaked jacket and handed it to one of his bodyguards without looking away from Madison. Then he leaned down, his face inches from hers. "Leave," he whispered. It wasn't a shout. It was the sound of a coffin lid closing. Madison grabbed her Birkin bag with trembling hands and fled, her heels clicking frantically against the floor until the glass doors slid shut behind her. Do-yoon sat back down. He was in his white dress shirt now, and Luna could see the holster under his left arm. The gun was clearly visible. He didn't bother to hide it. "Mianamida," he said to Luna. His Korean was formal, respectful. "I apologize." Luna's mouth was dry. "Why did you do that?" "Because you know the difference between bokbunja and andong soju," he said, cutting into the galbi that had been delivered during the chaos. "And because you have the eyes of someone running from something." He took a bite, chewed slowly, then pointed his chopsticks at her. "I hate wasted potential." He gestured to the food. "Eat. You look like you haven't seen protein in a week." Luna's stomach growled traitorously. She picked up her chopsticks. Do-yoon watched her take the first bite, then leaned back in his chair. "So, Luna Hayes. Perfect Seoul dialect Korean. Yuha University. Knowledge of traditional alcohol." His eyes narrowed. "Let me guess. Daughter of a diplomat? No. Too hungry for that. Scholarship student? Maybe. But that doesn't explain the fear." He leaned forward suddenly, his intensity multiplying. "That leaves family trouble." Luna froze, chopsticks halfway to her mouth. Do-yoon smiled. It wasn't kind. "You're Marcus Hayes's daughter." The chopsticks fell from Luna's hands, clattering against the plate. "How?" Her voice broke. "How do you know that name?" "Your father was a legend in certain circles," Do-yoon said, his voice casual despite the bomb he'd just dropped. "Intelligence operative turned smuggler. Moved data, weapons, crypto keys across the Pacific." His expression hardened. 4 years ago, he vanished with something that didn't belong to him, something that belonged to my family. Luna pushed back from the table, panic clawing up her throat. "I don't know where he is. I haven't seen him since, please. I just want to go home." "You can't go home, Luna," Do-yoon said quietly. "Why not?" Do-yoon nodded toward the window where black SUVs had pulled up to the curb, engines running, windows tinted. "Because if I found you," his eyes met hers, dark and certain, Then Jinho Choi found you too, and Choi doesn't appreciate Korean culture or fine alcohol. His voice dropped to a lethal whisper. He only appreciates blood. As if summoned by the words, the restaurant's front window exploded inward in a shower of crystal and gunfire. The sound wasn't a crash, it was an explosion of glass and fury. The front window of Hanul shattered into 1,000 glittering shards, spraying across the dining room like deadly rain. Screams erupted. Diners threw themselves under tables. Luna didn't have time to scream. A weight slammed into her, knocking her chair backward. Do-yoon was on top of her, his body a shield, one hand cradling her head as they hit the floor. She smelled gunpowder and his cologne, something expensive and cedar dark, and felt the solid heat of his chest pressing against hers. Pop, 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 pop. Bullets tore through the velvet booth where they'd been sitting seconds ago. The bottles behind the bar exploded in a cascade of alcohol and glass. The liquor display, decades of carefully curated traditional soju, became a waterfall of destruction. Stay down. Do-yoon's voice was a roar above the chaos. He pulled his gun from the holster, a matte black weapon that looked like death-made metal, and fired 3 calculated shots toward the shattered window. Taehyun, north exit. One of Do-yoon's bodyguards was already moving, flipping a table for cover and returning fire with mechanical precision. Jin-sok, get the car. Luna's entire body was shaking. What's happening? Who are they? Choi's dogs. Do-yoon spat. He looked down at her, his face inches from hers, a small cut on his cheek bleeding from flying glass. He wants what your father stole, and he thinks you're the key to finding it. Key to what? My father's dead. Luna's voice cracked. He died 4 years ago in a car accident. Your father's not dead, Luna. Do-yoon hauled her up, keeping her low. And he didn't die in any accident. He ran, with something worth killing for. More gunfire shredded the air. A server screamed, diving behind the kimchi refrigerator. The overhead lights sparked and died, plunging half the restaurant into flickering emergency lighting that painted everything in hellish red. We move. Now. Do-yoon grabbed Luna's wrist, his grip iron strong, and yanked her toward the kitchen. They ran in a crouch, past overturned tables and sobbing diners pressed flat to the floor. Luna's practical shoes slipped on spilled banchan, sesame oil making the tiles treacherous. They burst through the kitchen doors. The line cooks had already fled. Steam still rose from abandoned pots, the smell of burning meat mixing with cordite. Out the back, Do-yoon commanded, dragging Luna past the industrial stoves. They hit the steel emergency door and exploded into the alley. A black sedan screeched to a halt, tires smoking. Jin-sok was behind the wheel. Get in! Do-yoon shoved Luna into the back seat and dove in after her. The door hadn't even closed before Jin-sok floored it, the car rocketing down the narrow alley. Luna's head snapped back against the leather seat. Behind them, a motorcycle rounded the corner, rider raising what looked like a compact submachine gun. Down! Do-yoon pushed Luna's head below the window line. Bullets pinged off the reinforced trunk. The back window spiderwebbed but didn't shatter bulletproof glass. Jin-sok whipped the car onto Olympic Boulevard, weaving through traffic with the precision of a getaway driver. Neon Korean signs blurred past Norabong, Hansikdang, PC-bong. The familiar landmarks of Koreatown transformed into a battlefield backdrop. Luna was pressed against Do-yoon's side, his arm locked around her shoulders, keeping her down. She could feel his heart beating steady, controlled, nothing like her own panicked hammering. My father, Luna gasped out, her mind still reeling. You said he's alive. How do you know? Do-yoon's jaw was tight. Because 2 weeks ago we intercepted a message, encrypted, from Busan. He pulled out his phone with his free hand, thumbed to a photo, held it where Luna could see. It was a photograph of a letter. Handwriting she'd recognize anywhere her father's slanted scrawl. The words were in code, but the signature. Luna's vision blurred with tears. That's his. That's Papa's handwriting. Marcus didn't just steal money, Luna. Du-Yun's voice was hard. He stole an encrypted drive containing private keys to the Pacific Rim Syndicate's cryptocurrency wallets. Over $800 million. Choi wants it to take over the West Coast. I want it to stop him. I don't have it, Luna insisted, her voice breaking. I don't even know what a private key is. You don't have it yet, Du-Yun corrected. But your father was sentimental. He would have hidden it somewhere connected to you. Somewhere safe. Somewhere only you would know to look. The car swerved hard left, narrowly missing a city bus. Luna grabbed the door handle to steady herself. They were speeding down Wilshire now, leaving Koreatown behind, heading toward downtown's gleaming towers. Where are we going? My place, Du-Yun said. The only location in LA that Choi can't touch without starting a war he'll lose. The car slowed as they approached a high-rise that seemed to scrape the smog-darkened sky. All black glass and steel, it looked more like a fortress than a residence. Armed security flanked the underground entrance. They descended into a private garage. Jin-Sok killed the engine. The silence was deafening after the chaos. Du-Yun helped Luna out of the car. Her legs were shaking so badly she could barely stand. He steadied her with a hand on her elbow. Secure the perimeter, Do-Yun ordered his men. Triple rotation. No one enters without biometric clearance and my personal authorization. They took a private elevator. It opened directly into a penthouse that made Luna's breath catch despite everything. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Los Angeles skyline, a sea of lights stretching to the dark horizon. The furniture was minimalist, expensive, all black leather and chrome. Modern art hung on the walls. Everything screamed wealth and power. There's a guest room down the hall, Du-Yun said, loosening his tie. There was blood on his white shirt, his own or someone else's. Luna couldn't tell. Shower. Change. My sister keeps clothes here. And then what? Luna's voice sounded hollow. Du-Yun walked to a bar, poured 2 glasses of amber liquid. Whiskey. He handed one to her. Then you tell me everything you remember about your father. Every detail. Every hiding place. Every story he told you. Luna took the glass with trembling hands. Why should I trust you? Because right now, I'm the only thing standing between you and a bullet. Du-Yun's eyes were hard. Choi has 50 men in this city. I have more. But he's desperate, and desperate men make stupid moves. He moved closer, his intensity like a physical force. Your father is alive, Luna, but he won't be for long if we don't find that drive first. Luna's mind was spinning. Her father. Alive. For 4 years, she'd mourned him. 4 years of debt collectors, of his business partners threatening her, of believing he'd died because of his own recklessness. He'd been alive the whole time. I need proof, Luna whispered. Real proof. Not just a letter. Do-Yun set down his glass. He pulled out his phone again, swiped to a video file. This was sent to my father 2 days ago. From Choi. A. Message. He hit play. The video quality was grainy, shot in dim light. But Luna recognized the man immediately. Older, grayer, thinner, gaunt, really with a bruised face and haunted eyes. But it was him, her father. Marcus Hayes looked directly into the camera. His voice was hoarse, broken. Luna, baby girl, if you're watching this run, don't look for me. Don't try to. The video cut to black. Luna's glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Whiskey spread like blood. He's in Choi's compound in Busan, Du-Yun said quietly. Has been for 4 years. Choi's been using him to try to break the encryption. But Marcus is smart. He built a biometric lock that only 2 people can unlock. Luna's voice came out barely above a whisper. Who? Do-Yun's expression was grave. Him. And you. Before Luna could respond, Do-Yun's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and his expression went from grave to murderous. What? What is it? Do-yun turned the phone toward her. It was a text message, a photo attached. Luna's apartment, completely destroyed. Furniture slashed, walls torn apart, everything she owned, including the shoebox with her mother's photos, scattered like garbage across the floor. The message below the photo was in Korean. 우리는 그녀가 어디에 숨어 있는지 알고 있습니다. 자정까지 드라이버를 가져오세요. 아니면 둘 다 죽습니다. We know where she hides. Bring the drive by midnight, or they both die. I'm going back. Luna's voice was steel despite the tremor in her hands. That's my apartment. My things. My mother's. It's a trap, Do-yun cut her off. Choi wants you to run back there. He'll have men waiting. I don't care. Luna spun to face him, tears streaming down her face. Everything I have left of her is in that apartment. The photos, the hanbok she wore to her citizenship ceremony, the jade pendant from my grandmother. Her voice cracked. It's all I have. Do-yun studied her for a long moment. Then he grabbed his jacket. Jin-sok, bring the car. Full tactical gear. We go in fast, 2 minutes max. Then we're out. Do-yun see. It's not safe. Did I stutter? Do-yun's voice could have frozen hell. Move. The drive to Luna's apartment in Echo Park took 15 minutes. Every second felt like an hour. Luna sat rigid in the back seat, her mind cycling through memories, her mother's hands teaching her to write Hangul, the lullabies, the jade pendant cool against Luna's 7-year-old chest as her mother clasped it around her neck. This was your grandmother's. When I'm gone, it's yours. Never forget. They pulled up to the crumbling building. 2 of Do-yun's men swept the perimeter, weapons drawn. Clear, one radioed back. Luna bolted from the car before Do-yun could stop her. She took the stairs 3 at a time, heart in her throat. The apartment door hung off its hinges, wood splintered around the frame. Inside was devastation. Her mattress was gutted, stuffing spilling out like entrails. The cheap dresser was smashed to kindling. Her clothes, the second-hand pieces she'd carefully mended, the uniform she'd washed every night were torn and scattered. The floorboards had been pried up, creating a minefield of splinters and nails. But it was the corner that destroyed her. The small shelf where she'd kept her mother's things emptied, ransacked, gone. Luna fell to her knees, crawling through the debris. No, 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 please! She reached under the remains of her bed, feeling for the loose floorboard she'd used as a hiding spot. Her fingers found only empty space. The shoebox was gone. The photos, the acceptance letter from Ewa, the jade pendant, all of it. They took everything, Luna said, her voice breaking, her hands clenched into fists, nails biting her palms. The pendant was the only thing I had left of her. The only thing. Do-yun crouched beside her. He didn't offer empty comfort. Instead, he surveyed the destruction with calculating eyes. This was Choi's work. Thorough, brutal, loud. He stood, extending his hand. But if they'd found what they were really looking for, they would have burned this building down to cover their tracks. Luna looked up at him through tears. What are you saying? They didn't find the drive, which means they're still hunting. He kept his hand extended. You have nothing left here, Luna. No job Kim will fire you to protect his restaurant. No home. No past to cling to. So what do I do? Luna's voice was broken. Do-yun's expression softened almost imperceptibly. You come with me. We find the drive together. We get your father back. And I get you that pendant. You can't promise that. I own half of Koreatown and 3/4 of the port of LA, Do-yun said. If Choi has it, I'll burn his world down until he gives it back. His hand remained steady. Partner with me, Luna. Your brain, my resources, your father's freedom, your mother's legacy. Everything you've lost, I'll help you take it back. Luna stared at his hand. The hand of a criminal. A killer. but also the hand that had shielded her from bullets, that had defended her when no one else would. "What's the catch?" she whispered. "No catch. But understand this once you take my hand. You're mine to protect, which means you follow my rules, trust my judgment, and accept that the life you had is over." His eyes bore into hers. "You'll be walking into a war, Luna. And you can't walk out until it's won." Luna thought of her father's gaunt face in that video. She thought of the jade pendant, her last connection to her mother. She thought of 4 years spent erasing herself piece by piece, afraid to be seen. She placed her hand in his. Do-yun pulled her to her feet, pulled her close, and for a brief second, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safe. "Let's go home," he said. Back at the penthouse, Luna showered in a bathroom larger than her entire apartment had been. The hot water felt like a luxury she'd forgotten existed. She found clothes in the guest room designer pieces from Do-yun's sister, tags still on, a cashmere sweater, silk joggers. She felt like an imposter. When she emerged, Do-yun was standing at the floor-to-ceiling windows, silhouetted against the LA skyline. He'd changed into a black t-shirt that revealed intricate tattoos, a tiger winding up his right arm, Korean characters she couldn't quite read. "Horangi," Luna said softly, approaching. "Tiger." "Family crest," Do-yun replied without turning. "My grandfather's choice. A reminder of what we are. Predators." He paused. "What my father wanted me to be. And what do you want to be?" Do-yun finally looked at her. For the first time, she saw past the mob boss exterior to something raw underneath. "I wanted to be a professor. Korean literature. I had a scholarship to Berkeley." He laughed, bitter. "My father called it playing American. Said I was abandoning my heritage for white approval." Luna stepped closer. "But you came back." "My older brother was killed. Someone had to take over the family business." Do-yun's jaw tightened. "So I buried the books and picked up the gun. Became the dutiful Korean son. The tiger. That's not so different from me," Luna said quietly. "I spent my childhood trying to be Korean enough for my mother's family, American enough for everyone else, never quite belonging anywhere. And now?" Do-yun asked. "Now I'm just trying to survive." Do-yun turned to face her fully. "You're more than survival, Luna Hayes. Your Korean is flawless. Your knowledge is real. You earned that UA scholarship." His voice lowered. "You belong everywhere and nowhere, just like me." Before Luna could respond, Do-yun's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and his expression went deadly still. "What?" Luna's stomach dropped. Do-yun held up the phone. It was a video message from an unknown number. He pressed play. The video showed a traditional Korean room tatami mats, paper screens, and in the center, bound to a chair, was Marcus Hayes. But he wasn't alone. Standing behind him, a knife to his throat, was a man Luna didn't recognize. Thin, cruel-faced, with cold eyes. Jin Ho Choi. "Do-yun si," Choi said in Korean, his smile serpentine. "I know you have the girl. So here's my offer." He pressed the knife harder, drawing a line of blood down Marcus's neck. "The drive for her father's life. You have 72 hours. Meet me in Seoul, Bukchon Hanok village, where her grandmother used to live." Marcus lifted his eyes to the camera, his voice ragged. "Luna, baby girl, the fox knows." Choi hit him. Hard. Marcus's head snapped to the side. The video cut to black. Luna swayed, the room spinning. Do-yun caught her before she collapsed. "Seoul," she breathed. "He wants us to come to Seoul." "It's a trap," Do-yun said. "I don't care." Luna grabbed his arms, her nails digging in. "That's my father. That's the house where my grandmother raised my mother. If the drive is hidden there, if there's any chance." Do-yun's phone buzzed again. Another message, this time a photo. Luna's jade pendant, lying on a blood-stained floor. The message, "Come find it, if you're brave enough." Luna stared at the photo of her mother's jade pendant until her vision blurred. Then something clicked. She grabbed Do-yoon's phone, scrolled back to the video of her father. "Play it again," she demanded. Do-yoon hesitated, then pressed play. Marcus Hayes's battered face filled the screen. "Luna, baby girl the fox knows." Choi's blow cut him off. "Again," Luna said, her voice sharp with focus. "Luna. Again." Do-yoon replayed it. This time Luna's eyes were closed, listening to the cadence, the specific words. "The fox knows." Her father had tried to say more. 3 words before he was silenced. "He was trying to tell me something," Luna said, standing abruptly. "The fox. It's not random." Her mind raced, pulling threads from memories she'd buried for years. "My mother used to read me Korean folk tales every night. There was one book, a first edition from the 1950s that my grandmother brought from Korea." Do-yoon was already moving to his study. "What kind of folk tales?" "Animal stories. Fables." Luna followed him into a room lined with books, Korean literature mixed with American crime novels, academic journals, poetry. My father knew that book by heart. He'd quiz me on the stories after Mama died, made me memorize the proverbs. Do-yoon pulled out his laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard. "What's the title?" "Hanguk Chonle Donghwajip," Luna said. "Korean Traditional Folk Tales. Published 1952, Seonjin Publishing." Do-yoon pulled up an archived digital copy within seconds. The screen filled with old-fashioned Hangul, beautifully illustrated pages. "Which story?" Luna scanned the table of contents, her heart pounding. "The fox. Find the fox story." Do-yoon scrolled. There were 3 stories featuring foxes: the cunning Kumiho, the trickster fox, the transformed fox bride. Luna's eyes landed on the 3rd one. Youa Horangi, the fox and the tiger. "That one. Open it." The story unfolded in archaic Korean, telling of a clever fox who outwitted a tiger by hiding something precious, where the tiger would never think to look in the tiger's own den. Luna's breath caught. "Read the proverb at the end." Do-yoon read aloud. "Horangin in gur soge sarado, younin ahop bonse dor are e bomeral sumginda." Though the tiger lives in the cave, the fox hides his treasure under the 9th stone. "The 9th stone," Luna whispered. "Oh my God." "What 9th stone?" Luna grabbed the laptop, scrolling frantically back to the message from her father, the intercepted letter Do-yoon had shown her hours ago. She enlarged the photo, studying the handwritten Korean. There, buried in what looked like nonsense rambling about missing soul, were the words, "Awap Bonse Tori Kuriwa. I miss the 9th stone." "The garden wall," Luna said, her breath catching. Her hands shook with adrenaline, not fear. "At my grandmother's hanok in Bukchon. There was a stone wall that separated the courtyard from the side garden. My mother and I built a small tower, a dolharobung, from river stones when I was 10, 9 stones high. We buried a time capsule underneath. Letters to each other, little trinkets, promises." Do-yoon leaned forward. "The drive is in a time capsule? How old were you?" 10 when we buried it. But my father knew about it. He helped us seal it with cement." Luna's mind was connecting dots at lightning speed. "When Mama died, I was 12. Papa took me back to that spot. We added her favorite hairpin to the capsule, sealed it again. He said," her voice broke. "He said someday I'd go back and remember her." "He hid the drive with your mother's memory," Do-yoon said quietly, "where Choi would never think to look, in a child's time capsule." Luna nodded, tears streaming down her face. "And now Choi knows. He knows about Bukchon. He knows I lived there." Do-yoon stood, his movements decisive. "We leave for Seoul in 2 hours. Private jet from Van Nuys. I'll have a team meet us at Incheon." "No team," Luna interrupted. "If Choi sees an army, he'll kill my father immediately. It has to be quiet. Just us. Luna, that's suicide." My father has been in that monster's prison for 4 years. Luna's voice rose, sharp and clear. 4 years while I thought he was dead. 4 years while I scrubbed toilets and served food and let people treat me like garbage because I thought I was alone. She stood, meeting Do-Yun's eyes with fierce intensity. 4 years of lies. I'm not waiting another 4 hours. Do-Yun studied her face, the steel that had replaced the fear, the transformation from waitress to warrior happening in real time. You understand what you're walking into? Choi won't let you just take the drive and leave. I understand that I'm done being invisible, Luna said. I understand that my father is counting on me, and I understand that if I don't do this, I'll never forgive myself. Do-Yun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression went grim. It's from my contact at Incheon Airport. Choi's men landed 3 hours ago. They're already in Seoul. Then, we need to get there first. Luna. Do-Yun grabbed her shoulders. Your father is brilliant. He built a biometric lock that requires both your voices, but it's not what Choi thinks. The proverb doesn't unlock the crypto wallets. It activates a virus disguised as an unlock sequence. Luna's eyes widened. So when we speak the proverb, Choi will think he's getting access to $800 million. But your father programmed it to deploy ransomware instead. It'll encrypt every connected system in Choi's network. Do-Yun's expression was grim. The problem is, we need to be inside his compound when it happens. And once the virus activates, we'll have maybe 3 minutes before his entire security system crashes, including the doors. It's our only window to escape. Luna pulled away, pacing to the window. The Seoul skyline of her childhood flashed through her mind, the curved temple roofs of Bukchon, the narrow alleyways, her grandmother's gentle hands teaching her to make kimchi, her mother's laughter echoing through the courtyard. Then we'll be smarter, Luna said, turning back. My father taught me something before everything fell apart. He said the best intelligence operatives aren't the strongest or the fastest. They're the ones who understand that every enemy has a weakness. She met Do-Yun's eyes. What's Choi's weakness? Do-Yun considered. Greed. He wants that 800 million more than he wants anything else. Then we use it against him, Luna said. We get the drive, we unlock it, but we don't give him what he wants. What are you suggesting? Luna's smile was sharp, her mother's steel and her father's cunning combining in her expression. I'm suggesting we encrypt the bastard's life out of existence. Do-Yun stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled, a real smile, dangerous and approving. You really are Marcus Hayes' daughter. Damn right I am. Do-Yun made a call. Jin-Suk, prep the jet. Seoul, immediate departure. And contact Lee Min-jun. I need his hacking team on standby. He hung up and looked at Luna. Pack light. We land at dawn. Luna started toward the guest room, then stopped. Do-Yun, thank you. For believing me. For helping me. Don't thank me yet, Do-Yun said. We have 72 hours to steal an encrypted drive from your childhood home, outsmart Korea's most violent crime boss, and save your father from a fortified compound. He grabbed his go-bag from a closet. Thank me when we're all still breathing. They were halfway to the door when Do-Yun's laptop chimed. An email. The sender. Unknown. The subject line in Korean. Tangshinen nomu 늦었습니다. You're too late. Do-Yun opened it. A single photo attachment loaded. The Bukchon Hanok, Luna's grandmother's house surrounded by black SUVs, armed men patrolling the perimeter, and spray-painted across the traditional wooden door in red, Wariga Manjawata. We got here first. The private jet cut through the darkness over the Pacific, chasing the dawn toward Seoul. Luna pressed her forehead against the window, watching the black water 30,000 feet below. Somewhere down there was the girl she used to be, the one who'd boarded a plane just like this 4 years ago, running from debt collectors and her father's secrets, believing she'd never return. You should sleep, Do-Yun said from the seat across from her. He'd been working on his laptop for hours, coordinating with contacts in Seoul, mapping escape routes, preparing for a war. Can't, Luna whispered. Every time I close my eyes, I see my mother's face. The last time we walked through that house together. She swallowed hard. I was 12. She'd just gotten her stage 4 diagnosis. She made me promise to remember. Remember the smell of the courtyard after rain. The way the morning light hit the paper screens. The sound of wind chimes my grandmother hung by the gate. Do-yun closed his laptop. What happened to your grandmother? Died 6 months before Mama. Heart attack. Luna's laugh was bitter. My mother used to say grief is inherited. Her mother's broken heart became hers, and hers became mine. That's not grief, Do-yun said quietly. That's love, the kind that doesn't end. Luna looked at him, really looked at him. The mob boss exterior had softened in the dim cabin light. He looked younger, almost vulnerable. Did you love someone? Before all this? Do-yun's jaw tightened. Her name was Ji-won, pre-med student at Berkeley. We were going to get married after graduation. He stared at his hands. My father made me choose. The family or her. I chose wrong. Do-yun. We're beginning our descent. The pilot's voice crackled over the speaker. Seoul emerged from the morning haze like a memory taking shape. The Han River snaking through endless towers of glass and steel, the mountains cradling the city like protective hands. Luna's chest tightened. Oma, I'm home. They landed at a private airstrip outside Incheon. A car was waiting. No driver Do-yun took the wheel himself. Safer this way, he explained. Fewer witnesses. The drive into Seoul was surreal. Luna recognized nothing and everything. The highways were wider, the buildings taller, but the mountains remained unchanged, eternal, indifferent to human transformation. When they entered Bukchon, the streets narrowed, becoming the labyrinthine alleys of her childhood. Traditional Hanoks huddled together like old women sharing secrets. Do-yun parked 3 blocks away. We walk from here. Stay close. They moved through the early morning quiet. Tourists hadn't arrived yet. Only elderly residents sweeping their stoops, the smell of doenjang jjigae drifting from open windows. Luna's feet remembered the path left at the pottery shop, right at the corner with the twisted pine tree, straight until the wall with the climbing roses. Her grandmother's hanok stood at the end of a dead-end alley. The black SUVs from the photo were gone. The red spray paint had been hastily scrubbed away, leaving ghost letters on the wood. They were here, Luna breathed. They left, Do-yun said, his hand on his concealed weapon. Question is whether they found what they came for. The gate creaked when Luna pushed it. The courtyard was overgrown weeds pushing through the stone pathway, the wind chimes rusted silent. The house itself looked like it was dissolving back into the earth. Wooden beams weathered gray, roof tiles cracked. Luna's vision blurred with tears. It's dying. We need to move fast, Do-yun urged. Where's the 9th stone? Luna led him to the side garden. The wall was still standing, moss-covered and ancient. She counted the stones in the decorative pillar. 1, 2, 3, 9. The 9th stone was loose. Someone had disturbed it recently. Her heart sank. They already looked here. Did they know what they were looking for? Do-yun knelt, examining the ground. The cement is old, undisturbed for years. Luna's mind raced. Her father's message. The fox hides his treasure under the 9th stone. But her father was also an intelligence operative. He dealt in misdirection, layers of deception. It's not under the stone, Luna whispered. It's in the house. The 9th stone is a marker, a reference point. She spun around, counting. 9 steps from the stone to the back door. 9 tiles across the threshold. Amma always said 9 was lucky goo, longevity. She ran into the house. The interior was stripped bare, furniture gone, floors covered in dust. But the structural elements remained. Luna counted roof beams. The ninth beam ran above the main room where her mother used to sit and sew. "Help me," Luna said, dragging an old wooden crate beneath the beam. She climbed up, running her hands along the wood. Her fingers found a groove, then a small panel, hidden, unseeable from below. The panel slid open. Inside was a traditional Jogakbo doll patchwork fabric, hand-stitched, faded with age. Luna had made it with her mother when she was 9 years old, her first sewing project. Luna's hands trembled as she lifted it down. The doll's back had been carefully opened and resealed. Luna's fingers found the stitching, pulled. Inside the cotton stuffing, wrapped in waterproof silk, a silver USB drive. "I found it," Luna whispered. "Papa, I found it." Do-yoon smiled. "Your father is brilliant." Glass shattered. The front window exploded inward. Men poured through 6, 8, 10, armed and moving with military precision. Choi's men. "Go!" Do-yoon fired 3 shots, dropping 2 men. He grabbed Luna's wrist and pulled her toward the back door. They burst into the courtyard. More men coming from the gate. Trapped. Do-yoon looked up. "The roof. Now!" They scrambled up the decorative wall, Luna's fingers finding holds her childhood hands remembered. The traditional curved roof tiles were slippery with morning dew. Luna's feet skidded. Do-yoon caught her, steadying her. Bullets chipped the tiles around them. They ran, leaping from roof to roof, the traditional Hanok architecture creating a pathway above the narrow alleys. Below, tourists were beginning to emerge, snapping photos, oblivious to the violence above. "The pendant," Do-yoon gasped as they ran. "Do you have anything that looks like the USB?" Luna's mind raced. Then she remembered the Jogakbo doll. She pulled it from her pocket. "This!" "Perfect." Do-yoon grabbed it, pulled something from his own pocket, a jade pendant, but not Luna's, a decoy he'd acquired. He stuffed it inside the doll. "When I say throw, you throw this, not the real drive." They leaped across a gap between houses. Luna's foot caught on a broken tile. She fell, sliding down the curved roof toward a 2-story drop. Do-yoon lunged, catching her wrist too hard, almost dislocating her shoulder but better than falling. He hauled her up with desperate strength, and they crashed together against a decorative chimney, the impact knocking the air from both their lungs. For a moment they were pressed together, breathing hard, his arms locked around her. Not gentle protection, raw survival. "I've got you," he whispered, his voice rough with fear. Their eyes met. Time suspended. Then gunfire shattered the moment. They ran again, jumping down onto a lower roof, then into a crowd of mourning tourists. Do-yoon grabbed Luna's hand, pulling her into the masses. They became invisible again, 2 more visitors among hundreds. "Now!" Do-yoon hissed. Luna threw the decoy doll. It arced through the air, landing in an alley. 3 of Choi's men peeled off, pursuing it. Do-yoon and Luna disappeared into a traditional tea house, through the back, into the maze of Bukchon's ancient streets. They finally stopped in a hidden courtyard, gasping for breath. Luna checked her pocket. The real USB drive was still there, solid and real. "We did it," she breathed. "We actually..." Do-yoon's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen and went pale. "What?" He turned the phone toward her. A live video feed. Her father, in that same room, but now Choi stood beside him, and Choi was holding Luna's real jade pendant, her grandmother's pendant, between his fingers. "Luna, see," Choi said in Korean, smiling at the camera. "You have what I want. I have what you want. So let's make a trade. Sunset. Haeundae Beach. Busan." His smile widened, serpentine. "Come alone, or I'll mail you your father's fingers. 1 per hour. And bring the drive. I know you found it. My men saw you in that house." He held up Luna's pendant, letting it catch the light. "This is just a down payment. You want it back? You want your father back? The drive. Tonight. Or I kill him and hunt you for the rest of your short life." The video cut to black. Luna clutched the USB drive in her pocket, her knuckles white. He knows we have it. Do-yun's jaw tightened. Then we use it as leverage. We go to Busan. We make the trade. But on our terms. Do-yun, the moment we give him this drive. We're not giving him anything real. Do-yun interrupted. Your father embedded a virus. We just need to make sure it activates when Choi thinks he's won. He pulled her close, his eyes intense. Trust me. We're going to get your father out, destroy Choi's empire, and get you that pendant. But we have to be smarter than him. Luna looked at the drive in her palm, so small, so powerful, the key to everything. Then let's finish this. They had the drive, but Choi had moved the game to his territory, his fortress, and they had less than 12 hours to walk into the tiger's den and survive. They had 2 hours to plan before the train departed. Do-yun's safe house in Seoul was a modest apartment in Itaewon, anonymous among thousands. Luna sat at a small table, the USB drive between them like a live grenade. We go in with the drive, Do-yun said, studying a blueprint of Choi's compound on his laptop. But we need leverage beyond just the exchange. Choi won't honor any deal. My father programmed the virus, Luna said slowly, working through the logic. The biometric lock means Choi needs both of us alive to activate it. But once it's activated, once the virus deploys, we have minutes before his entire network crashes. Security systems, doors, everything. Do-yun pointed to the compound layout. My men will position outside. The moment the power fails, they breach. We extract your father in the chaos. Luna stared at the drive. We're walking in with the one thing he wants most, trusting that my father's programming from 4 years ago will work. Your father stayed alive 4 years by convincing Choi this drive was worth keeping him breathing. Do-yun met her eyes. Trust him. Trust yourself. Luna picked up the drive, closed her fist around it. Then let's go to Busan. The KTX bullet train sliced through the Korean countryside at 300 kilometers per hour, Seoul to Busan, in 2 hours 40 minutes. Luna watched the landscape blur past rice paddies giving way to industrial complexes, mountains to coastal flatlands. Every kilometer was a countdown to either salvation or execution. Do-yun sat across from her, his laptop open, coordinating with his Busan contacts. I have 8 men in the city, ex-military. They can position around the perimeter. He said come alone. Luna interrupted. And you believe him? I believe he'll kill my father if we don't follow his rules. Luna's voice was steady despite the terror coursing through her veins. We play his game, until we can change the rules. Do-yun closed the laptop. You understand what you're walking into? Choi's compound is a fortress. 15-foot walls. Armed guards. Surveillance everywhere. It overlooks Haeundae Beach, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Once you're inside, you're his. Then you'll have to get me out. Luna. I'm not debating this. Luna met his eyes. My father has been tortured for 4 years because I thought he was dead. Because I gave up. I won't abandon him again. Do-yun reached across the small table, took her hand. You didn't abandon him. You survived. That's what he wanted. Luna squeezed his hand, then let go. Survival isn't enough anymore. They arrived at Busan Station as the afternoon sun turned the sky amber. A black sedan was waiting, driven by one of Do-yun's men, a stone-faced operative who handed Do-yun a garment bag without speaking. What's this? Luna asked. Insurance, Do-yun said. Open it. Inside was a hanbok, not the simple cotton kind worn by tourists, but an elaborate formal piece. Deep crimson silk embroidered with golden phoenixes, the kind worn by nobility. The jeogori top was fitted, the chima skirt flowing like water. Choi demanded you wear traditional dress, Do-yun explained. He wants theater, wants you to look like a prize he's claiming. His jaw tightened. My contact included something extra. He showed her the hidden pocket sewn into the inner lining. Inside, A small ceramic blade, barely 3 inches long. It won't set off metal detectors. 1 shot. Make it count. Luna held the delicate weapon. I've never stabbed anyone. Throat or inner thigh. Femoral artery if you can reach it. Duyun's voice was clinical, but his eyes were dark with worry. Luna, if it goes wrong, if he makes a move before I can breach, don't hesitate. Luna changed in the car's tinted back seat. The hanbok fit perfectly, transforming her into someone from another era. She caught her reflection in the window. She looked like her mother on her wedding day. The thought made her chest ache. Choi's compound sat on a cliff overlooking Haeundae Beach. Modern concrete walls disguised as traditional architecture. Security cameras hidden in decorative eaves. The gate opened as they approached, expected, anticipated. I'll be close, Duyun said. The moment you unlock that drive, I move. But Luna, he grabbed her face, forcing her to look at him. If I tell you to run, you run. Understand? I understand. Luna stepped out of the car. The gates closed behind her with a sound like a death sentence. 2 guards escorted her through a courtyard garden carefully manicured, obscenely beautiful, smelling of jasmine and salt water. The main house was traditional on the outside, ultra-modern within. Marble floors, minimalist furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows displaying the sunset ocean like a painting. Jin-ho Choi waited in what appeared to be a library. He was smaller than Luna expected, wearing an expensive suit, his thin face arranged in a smile that never reached his eyes. Behind him, bound to a chair, her father. Luna's world tilted. Marcus Hayes was barely recognizable. Gaunt, bruised, one eye swollen shut, his hands twisted at unnatural angles, broken, healed wrong, broken again. But when he saw Luna, his remaining good eye widened. A sound escaped his throat, part sob, part prayer. Papa, Luna whispered. No, Marcus rasped. No, baby girl, you shouldn't. You should have run. Choi struck him casually across the face. Luna lurched forward. Guards grabbed her arms, holding her back. Such a touching reunion, Choi said in Korean, his voice oily. The prodigal daughter returns, and look how beautiful a proper Korean lady. He circled Luna like a predator. Your father has been telling me stories. How his brilliant daughter speaks perfect Korean. How she studied at Ewa. How she's smart enough to find what he hid. I have the drive, Luna said, her voice not trembling. Let him go and I'll give it to you. Oh, Luna, see. Choi's laugh was cruel. You misunderstand the situation. You don't negotiate with me. You perform for me. He snapped his fingers. A guard brought a laptop, placed it on an ornate wooden table. Choi pulled the USB drive from his pocket. The real one, Luna realized with horror. The decoy had failed. He'd known all along. Your father was very clever, Choi said, inserting the drive. The laptop screen filled with encryption warnings. Biometric voice lock. Requires 2 specific voices speaking a specific phrase. He smiled. Want to guess whose voices? Luna's blood turned to ice. You and your father, Choi confirmed. Both of you, together, speaking the same Korean proverb. He pulled a gun, pressed it to Marcus's temple. So here's the game. You unlock the drive, I get $800 million, and you both die quickly, painlessly. Or, he cocked the hammer. You refuse, and I put a bullet in his brain right now. Then I torture you until you comply. Then you die, slowly. Luna, don't, Marcus begged. The moment we unlock it, we're dead anyway. Choi hit him again. Blood sprayed. Stop, Luna screamed. I'll do it. I'll unlock it. Just stop hurting him. Choi gestured to the laptop. Then speak. The proverb is already programmed. You know it, your father made sure. Something your mother taught you. Luna approached the laptop on shaking legs. The screen showed a voice authentication prompt. Below it, in Korean, Horanganin Jugaso Kajugol Namgigo, Saraman Jugaso Iramol Namginda. A tiger leaves its skin when it dies. A person leaves their name. Her mother's favorite proverb. About legacy. About what remains. Luna looked at her father. His remaining good eye was wet, his head shaking in desperate denial. "I'm sorry," he mouthed. "I'm so sorry, baby girl." "I love you, Papa," Luna said. Then to Choi. "Both of us? Together?" "Together. On my count." Choi kept the gun pressed to Marcus's head. "One mistake, and he dies. Understand?" Luna positioned herself near the laptop. Marcus was crying openly now, his broken hands trembling. "Ready?" Choi smiled. 1, 2, 3. Luna and her father spoke in unison, their voices blending like a chord. "Horangin and chugoso kajugirl namgigo, saram and chugoso iramerl namginda." The screen flashed green. Access granted. Files began appearing in encrypted wallets, routing numbers, the digital keys to an empire. Choi's eyes went wide with greed. He lowered the gun from Marcus's head, reaching for the laptop. That's when the lights went out. Total darkness. Then chaos. Gunfire erupted not from inside, but outside. Explosions. Screaming. The window shattered inward, and Luna heard Do-Yun's voice roaring in Korean. "Luna, down!" She dropped. Something whistled over her head, a bullet where she'd been standing. She crawled in the darkness toward her father's voice calling her name. "Papa, I'm here. I'm—" Hands grabbed her. Wrong hands. Not Do-Yun's. Choi's voice hissed in her ear. "You clever little bitch. You think he can save you?" Cold metal pressed against Luna's temple. A gun. The emergency lights flickered on dim, red, apocalyptic. Do-Yun stood in the doorway, his own weapon raised. Behind him, his men flooded in. But Choi had Luna, his arm around her throat, the gun to her head. "Drop it," Choi snarled, "or I paint the walls with her brain." Do-Yun froze. Marcus, still bound to the chair, was weeping. "Please, please don't hurt my daughter." Choi dragged Luna backward toward a side door. "The drive. Give me the laptop, or she dies." But Luna's hand was in her handbok, fingers closing around the ceramic blade. 3 inches of deadly ceramic. She thought of her mother, her grandmother, the women who'd survived wars and occupation and grief. She thought of the tiger proverb, "What you leave behind." Luna drove the blade backward into Choi's inner thigh, aiming for where Do-Yun had shown her, the femoral artery. Choi screamed. The gun discharged. The gunshot was deafening in the enclosed space. Luna felt the bullet whistle past her ear, so close it burned. Choi's scream became a gurgle as blood poured from his thigh. The ceramic blade had found its mark. He stumbled backward, the gun clattering from his grip. Do-Yun didn't hesitate. 2 shots, center mass. Choi went down, but he wasn't alone. Guards poured in from every direction, 10, 15, 20 armed men flooding the compound. Do-Yun's 8 operatives were outnumbered more than 2 to 1. "Get the laptop!" Do-Yun roared, firing to cover Luna. She lunged for it, but one of Choi's men was faster. He grabbed the device, sprinting toward the back exit. Luna watched in horror as the screen still glowed. Transfer. Initiating. 3%. 4%. 5%. The crypto wallets were being drained. $800 million flowing to whatever account Choi had programmed. "We have to stop the transfer," Luna screamed. "We have to survive first." Do-Yun grabbed her, pulling her behind an overturned table as bullets shredded the air where she'd been standing. Marcus was still bound to the chair, exposed, helpless. "Luna, get out of here!" Luna crawled toward him, glass cutting her palms. "I'm not leaving you." Choi, bleeding out on the floor, laughed a wet, horrible sound. "You're too late." He gasped in Korean. "The transfer takes 6 minutes. 6 minutes and I own everything." He pulled a radio from his jacket with shaking hands. "Kill them. Kill them all." The compound erupted. Gunfire from every direction. windows shattering, Du Yun's men taking cover, returning fire, but slowly being pushed back by overwhelming numbers. Du Yun pulled out his phone, pressed a single button. "Now," he said into it. Every light in the compound died. Emergency generators, security lights, everything total darkness except for the laptop's glowing screen and the muzzle flashes illuminating the chaos like hellish lightning. Luna used the darkness. She crawled to her father, fingers finding the zip ties binding his wrists. They were thick, industrial. She pulled the ceramic blade from Choi's leg. It came out slick with blood and sawed frantically at the plastic. "Luna, baby girl, you have to run," Marcus sobbed. "Please, I'm not worth—" "Shut up, Papa." The first tie snapped. She worked on the second. "I didn't come to Seoul just to watch you die." The second tie broke. Marcus's hands were free, but they were useless, broken, twisted from years of torture. Luna grabbed his arm, hauling him up. He could barely stand. "Move!" Du-yun appeared beside them, his gun blazing. "East corridor now." They stumbled through the darkness, Marcus between them, Du-yun firing behind to cover their retreat. Luna could hear Choi's men coordinating, converging on their position. They burst into the courtyard. One of Do-yun's men, Jin-sok, was there with a black van, engine running, side door open. "Get him in!" Du-yun shoved Marcus toward the vehicle. Jin-sok pulled Marcus inside. Luna moved to follow, but Do-yun caught her arm. "The laptop. If that transfer completes, Choi wins. Even if he's dead, his organization inherits everything. They'll hunt you forever." "Then stop it." "I can't." Du-yun's face was grim in the van's interior light. "It's inside the compound. Library. I saw where the guard took it." Marcus was leaning out of the van, his ruined hands reaching for Luna. "No. No, Luna. Get in this van right now. Papa." "I." An explosion rocked the compound. Part of the wall collapsed in flames. Choi's men were using grenades now, desperate to stop the extraction. "We have 2 minutes before this place is overrun," Jin-seok warned. "We need to go." Du-yun looked at Luna. "Get in the van. I'll handle the laptop." Luna looked at the van's safety, her father, escape. Then at the burning compound, certain death, chaos, but also the drive that held her father's freedom, their future, everything. The transfer was at 73% now. In 3 minutes it would be complete, irreversible. "Luna, please." Marcus was crying. "I lost 4 years with you. Don't make me lose the rest." Luna kissed her father's broken hands. "I love you, Papa. I'll see you soon." She turned and ran back toward the compound. "Luna!" Marcus's scream tore through the night. "Go!" Do-yun ordered Jin-sok. "Get him out of here." The van's tires screeched as it sped away, Marcus's anguished cries fading into the distance. Du-yun caught up to Luna at the entrance. "You insane, beautiful fool," he breathed. "You said it yourself, we're in this together." Luna picked up a fallen guard's gun, checked the chamber like her father had taught her years ago. "Where's the library?" "Second floor, west wing." Du-yun reloaded. "But Luna, I need you to understand, if we don't make it out, then we don't make it out." Luna's voice was steel. "But Choi doesn't win, not today." They plunged back into the compound. The emergency lights had flickered back on, casting everything in blood-red shadows. Bodies littered the floor guards, Du-yun's men, Choi's corpse still leaking blood onto the marble. They took the stairs 2 at a time. Second floor, west wing. The library doors were ahead, flanked by 2 guards. Du-yun and Luna fired simultaneously. The guards dropped. They burst into the library. Traditional Korean decor paper screens, calligraphy scrolls, and in the center, on an antique desk, the laptop. Transfer, 89%, 90%, 91%. Luna lunged for it, But a figure stepped from the shadows. A massive man, easily 6'5", Choi's head of security. He had a knife the size of Luna's forearm. "The virus is already running," Du-yun grunted, locked in combat with the giant. "Your father built a cascade. When the transfer hits 99%, it'll reverse and encrypt everything. But you need to disable the safety override. Control-Alt-F12. Luna's fingers flew to the keyboard. The screen changed, showing a warning prompt. Emergency stop protocol detected. Disable YN. 96%. 97%. Now what? Luna screamed. Code is... Do-yun's words cut off in a strangled gasp. The giant had him in a chokehold, the knife pressing toward his throat. Luna grabbed a heavy bronze incense burner from the desk. She swung it with everything she had at the giant's head. The crack was sickening. The man stumbled, released Do-yun. "The code!" Luna screamed. Do-yun gasped it out. "Tiger Phoenix 97 enter. It disables the abort command." Luna typed, furiously. 98%. 99%. Her finger slammed the enter key. The screen flashed red, then black. Then text appeared in Korean and English. Kingip Jungji Piwarsong Wadem. Emergency stop disabled. Aksan Koda Bapojung. Malware deployed. Encrypting target systems. Yesong Walyo Shigan. 30 Cho. Estimated completion. 30 seconds. What did I just do? Luna breathed. Du-yun, still gasping, grinned through blood. You didn't unlock Choi's fortune. You just destroyed it. He pushed himself up. Your father built a Trojan horse. The proverb appeared to unlock the wallets. Choi saw the transfer starting, thought he was winning, but it was all simulation. The real program was ransomware, embedding itself in every connected system. When you disabled the emergency stop, you let it complete. His grin widened. The crypto isn't transferred. It's burned. Every wallet, every account, every backup encrypted with a key that doesn't exist. Your father made sure that if he couldn't have it, no one could. The laptop began smoking, its circuits frying from the inside out. Luna laughed, half hysteria, half triumph. My father, the beautiful bastard. The window behind them exploded inward. Not glass a person, a woman, lithe and deadly, dropping from a rappel line. She had a gun already trained on Luna's heart. Step away from the laptop, the woman said in perfect Korean. Or I paint the walls with your girlfriend, Park Do-yun. Do-yun froze. Sujin, you're supposed to be in Singapore. Change of plans. The woman Sujin smiled coldly. She'd been Choi's top enforcer, the one Do-yun had let escape during a territory war 2 years ago. A debt he'd just paid for. Choi's sister sends her regards. And a message. You killed family. Now she takes yours. You killed. Her finger tightened on the trigger. Time crystallized. Luna saw Sujin's finger tightening on the trigger, saw the muzzle aimed at her chest, saw her own death approaching at bullet speed. Her hand found the ceramic soju bottle on the desk, ornamental, heavy, ancient. She didn't think. She threw. Not at Sujin, at the wall mount above her head, the traditional tiger painting hanging there 6 feet of framed artwork, solid wood, the tiger's eyes seeming to follow movement. Luna's mother had taught her about these paintings. Horangi, protection against evil spirits. The bottle shattered against the mount's bracket. The painting's wire snapped. 200 pounds of frame and glass plummeted. Sujin looked up a split second before it hit. The frame caught her gun arm, drove her to the ground with a sickening crunch. Her weapons skittered across the floor. Do-yun was already moving. One fluid motion, he grabbed the fallen gun, aimed, fired. The shot echoed like thunder. Sujin slumped, eyes wide with shock, blood spreading across the traditional carpet. Silence crashed down. Luna stood frozen, the smoking laptop between her and carnage. her heart hammering so hard she thought her ribs might crack. Do-yoon lowered the gun slowly. "It's over," he said, his voice hollow with exhaustion. "It's finally over." Luna's knees buckled. She dropped to the floor, breath coming in ragged gasps. "The money, the crypto!" "Gone." Do-yoon pulled out his phone, showed her the screen. News alerts were already flooding in. Massive cryptocurrency hack destroys Pacific Rim criminal network. $800 million in digital assets permanently encrypted. "Your father's virus didn't just lock the wallets," Do-yoon explained, crouching beside her. "It created a cascade. Every account connected to Choi's network, every shell company, every laundered dollar, all of it encrypted with an unbreakable cipher. The keys are destroyed. The money's gone. Forever." Luna started laughing, half hysteria, half triumph. "He burned it all. Papa burned $800 million rather than let them have it." "He protected you," Do-yoon said softly. "He knew they'd keep hunting as long as that money existed, so he made it not exist." Luna looked at the dying laptop, at Sujin's body, at Do-yoon covered in blood and bruises. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually—" Do-yoon pulled her to her feet, pulled her close. His hand cupped her face, tilting it up to his. "You did it. You came back. You risked everything. I had to. I couldn't lose." Luna's words died as Do-yoon kissed her. It was a kiss of survival, of victory, of two people who'd walked through fire and emerged transformed. It tasted of blood and smoke and future. When they finally broke apart, Luna was breathless. "Niga piryohe," Do-yoon whispered against her lips. "I need you." "Nado," Luna whispered back. "Me too." Sirens wailed in the distance. Police. Do-yoon's men had already extracted Marcus. He was safe. The compound was burning, collapsing, taking the last of Choi's empire with it. Luna looked at her reflection in the darkened laptop screen. She was wearing a blood-spattered hanbok, her hair wild, her face fierce. She looked nothing like the invisible waitress who'd polished silverware at Hanuel 6 days ago. She looked like her mother, strong, unbreakable. She looked like her father, clever, survivor. She looked like herself, black and Korean, American and immigrant's daughter, brilliant and utterly fearless. "I know who I am now," Luna said, meeting Do-yoon's eyes. "I'm Luna Hayes. I speak 3 languages. I survived hell, and I'm done apologizing for taking up space." Do-yoon smiled, a real smile, warm and proud. "Then let's go home." 6 months later. The evening light, through Haneol's windows, turned everything golden. Luna moved through the restaurant, her restaurant now greeting guests in Korean, English, and even attempting Spanish with a family from Mexico City. The dining room hummed with life, with culture, with belonging. The walls displayed photos. Luna's mother in traditional dress, Luna's grandmother in bukchon, and new photos, Luna receiving her Iwa diploma in absentia. Luna and Do-yoon at the restaurant's grand reopening. Luna and her father embracing outside a rehabilitation center. Marcus Hayes sat at the bar, his hands healing in specialized braces, physical therapy slowly restoring function. He was thinner but healthier, the haunted look fading from his eyes. He sipped tea and watched his daughter with fierce pride. "She's extraordinary," Do-yoon said, sliding onto the stool beside him. "Just like her mother. Just like herself," Marcus corrected. "Luna is her own legacy now." Do-yoon reached into his pocket, pulled out a small box. Inside, a jade pendant on a delicate chain. Luna's grandmother's pendant, the one stolen from her apartment, the one Choi had used to taunt them. Do-yoon had spent 3 months tracking it through black markets and police evidence rooms until he'd recovered it. But that wasn't all. Beside the pendant sat a ring white gold, simple, with a single diamond that caught the light like captured starlight. "Think she'll say yes?" Do-yoon asked. Marcus looked at the man who'd saved his daughter, who'd burned an empire for her, who looked at Luna like she hung the moon. I think, Marcus said slowly, you'd better ask in Korean. She likes it when you speak Korean. Do-yoon laughed. Noted. Luna finished with her table and walked over, radiant in a simple black dress, her natural hair in an elegant updo. What are you two plotting? Nothing, they said in unison, too quickly. Luna narrowed her eyes, but she was smiling. Liars, both of you. Do-yoon stood, took her hand. Walk with me. They stepped into the private courtyard behind the restaurant, the space Luna had transformed into a Korean garden, complete with stone lanterns and a small fountain. The city noise faded to a distant hum. Luna Hayes, Do-yoon said, his voice steady despite the nerves dancing in his chest. 6 months ago, you read a menu and changed my life. You showed me that power isn't about fear, it's about courage. About refusing to be erased. He pulled out the box, opened it. Luna's hands flew to her mouth as she saw the pendant. You found it, she whispered, tears already forming. I found it, and I found this. He showed her the ring. Then, in perfect Korean, formal and respectful, 당신과 함께 남은 인생을 보내고 싶습니다. 저와 결혼해 주시겠습니까? I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me? Luna looked at the pendant, her past. At the ring, her future. At Do-yoon, her present. She thought of her mother, her grandmother, all the women who'd fought to survive, who taught her that love is legacy. Nee, Luna said, laughing through tears. Yes. Do-yoon slipped both pendant and ring onto her, then kissed her like the world was watching, like they'd won something more precious than money or power. They'd won each other. Inside the restaurant, Marcus Hayes raised his teacup in silent toast to his daughter. The invisible girl had become unforgettable. The tiger had found her legacy, and she was just getting started. Luna went from invisible to unforgettable, and your support helps stories like hers be heard. If this story of courage, identity, and refusing to be erased moved you, smash that like button. It truly helps this channel grow. Drop a comment below. Would you have gone back into that villa to save Do-yoon, or would you have escaped with your father? I want to hear your thoughts. And if you love thrilling stories with powerful characters who refuse to stay silent, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the next incredible tale. Luna found her voice. Now help me share these stories with the world. See you in the next one.